You know what it is? When I was young, they called me bipolar. And I'm not like you guys, where the word bipolar is just a feeling of shame. You know, bipolar, you might as well be called nigger, you might as well be called spick, it doesn't matter what word they call you. Because, for you guys, it doesn't really matter the word. It's just a feeling of like otherness and rejection and shame. But for me, bipolar is a word. It means something. It means extreme. It means, I go from really sad to really happy, like manic and depressive. It means something. And on top of that, the word bipolar was introduced to me with a little bit more. There was a little bit more involvement because before I thought of myself as bipolar, I thought of myself as manic depressive. And manic is like mania, right? Like that's mania, and then depressive is like that's depressive. So the thing is that whenever I see in out in the world, in your functional adult world, how extreme that you are. Like for example, one of my homeless friends could not dumpster dive because there was a sign on the dumpster that said it was illegal to take anything out of the dumpster. One of my homeless friends said that he couldn't dumpster. One of my homeless friends said that he couldn't dumpster dive something out of a dumpster because there was a sign on it that said that it was illegal. Every time I say the word illegal, there's a hyena saying that I'm not allowed to say the word illegal. I don't know if you noticed. So we'll start at the top. This is the third time. So one of my homeless friends told me that they were not able to dumpster dive something out of a dumpster because there was a sign on the dumpster saying that it was illegal to take something out of the dumpster. And on the other side of the bipolar reality of your reality, that your reality is bipolar, is that if I try to give advice or if I try to contribute something creatively to any of my functional friends that are like working and making money, if I try to contribute into the lives of any of my functional friends that are working and making money, they can't even take advice to make their life better unless you pay them. So it's very difficult for me to accept that this is reality when I was already raised to not accept myself. And the reason I was given to not accept myself was because of how extreme that I was. You look like a cartoon. This girl that just walked by, she looked like a cartoon pug nose from a cartoon, but a human being. Anyway, so it's very difficult for me to accept your reality when your reality is so bipolar. I mean, maybe if I was able to have accepted myself and my extremes, my extreme mania, my extreme joy, my extreme enthusiasm, my extreme energy, my extreme faith, and maybe if I was allowed to accept my own extremeness, my own sadness, my own depression, my own melancholy, my own despair, my own shame, my own fears. Maybe if I was allowed to accept my own extremes growing up, I would be able to accept your extremes as a reality. That I can't give advice to an artist because they tell me that they can't take my advice unless I pay them. And that, the homeless guy can't dumpster dive something out of a dumpster because there's a sign on the dumpster saying that it's illegal. The takeaway is this. I cannot believe that you convinced the childhood me that you had some sort of balance and that I was unbalanced compared to you as a world. When really as a world, you did not have any balance. You just had reality that things stick around. The only balance that you have is that physical reality exists. And even that physical reality that exists is, with the multiverse and with observation and with quantum mechanics, under attack. The idea of objective reality. With the rejection of Jesus Christ and with the increase in irreligion and the decrease in religion and the increase in irreligiousness. So yeah. That's it. I was just overhearing. I was just overhearing the idea of. Here, let me not. I'm not gonna. Ooh, I got a little itchy on my chin for some reason. I wonder what I'm being told. Um, so when I was in a solitary confinement cell, I imagined that I was being contained by a semicircle of bags, like a bag, a bag, a bag, a bag, a bag. And the first time that I felt this semicircle barrier, it was like old wizards, old wise men that were keeping me contained. But then the next thing I imagined was these bags of rats. And in my imagination, because I felt like in my imagination I was being held in, cordoned off, not surrounded by semicircle, kept in by these bags of rats. In my imagination, I opened one of the bags of rats, and inside the bag was like a civilization of rats. It was a nice little civilization of rodents. And they told me that they did not want to have anything to do with how humans torture their children. They said, "Excuse me, we are very civilized rodents, and we would appreciate it." What the rodents told me is that they would appreciate it if they did not, if humans did not involve rodents in the torture of children. You know, like when your abusers abuse you, the reason you don't run away and call for help is because you don't want to betray them. So when you're torturing your children, you teach your children not to rat on you. And what the rodent civilization told me was that they would appreciate it very much if, when you were torturing your children, that if you did not involve them. They did not want to be involved in the torture of human children. Now, if anyone has benefited from their family tormenting them, it's me. And I appreciate, I appreciate the way that my cousins that were under 10 years old would hold the Bible in my face and they would say, "Why do they call it holy? I don't see any holes in it. I don't see any holes in it. I don't see any holes in it. Why do they call it holy?" That's how my cousins used to treat me. And now they have children that they take to church, if you can believe that. You know, if anyone understands the benefits of being tormented by family, because no one hates you like family. And I appreciate it. I do. In fact, when I thought about having a child, when I had a girlfriend, and I thought about having a child with her, I thought about just dropping the baby off at my parents' house, completely abandoning the child with these two horrible characters that have a history of being incompetent and neglectful. Because, I mean, what better way to raise a child than, incompetence and neglect? So that's it. Feel bad if you feel like feeling something, but you don't have to. You could just be emotionally dead if you feel like not feeling anything. I usually opt for that. That's the option that I choose most of the times. Especially in New York City, where you have to act like you have autism. You have to act like you're autistic because when you get on the train, all the faces on the train are so miserable. And if you know how to read the emotional expressions of human faces, you're going to be in a lot of trouble just taking the subway. So you kind of have to generate autistic symptoms just to live in New York City. So that's 10 minutes and 17 seconds. I think that's cool, right?